Hi everyone! In my second video I'm going to be talking about Google Forms. In my last video I talked to you about Google Classroom, just a broad overview of the benefits of it within the G Suite for Education, which your administrator has to sign your classroom up for that. That's not something you can just go and download on your own. It is free though, however. So today in this video though, I'm going to be talking to you about how to set up a Google form or a test quiz, and then how to assign that within Google Classroom. So those things are going to meet the TPACK standard. So I'm just going to hit my Google Forms hyperlink here, and then this brings me to my Google account. To find Google Forms, I just always hit this 3x3 array up here, and I'll click it, and then all of my little icons and apps in my Google account will be right here. And if you didn't know this, you can move these around to benefit you the most. So if you use your calendar the most, or if you use mail or search the most, you can move those around. So I'm going to hit my forms, and I'm going to make a blank document or a blank quiz just to show you all the features. Over here I'm just going to type in our title, which I'm going to be just sharing with you how we make our second graders reading tests. We actually make our second graders reading test using Google Forms because it saves on so much paper, and it saves us so much time where we don't even have to grade the kids' papers because Google Forms does it. And I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so I typed in the file. Over here, this little artist palette basically lets you customize the test. You can change the color. You can also change the header up there if you want to make it more fun. But I'm just going to change it to a basic color. This eyeball right here is a preview. It lets you preview how your test is going to look when the kids take it. Okay, so now I'm going to hit settings, and this is just going to go through how I want my form set up. I'm going to automatically put it as a quiz, so I want this to be a quiz or a test. I also want to make sure that the kids receive immediate feedback on their test. Because it's multiple choice, I can click immediately after each submission when I release the grades. Now, if it's a short answer, then you're probably going to have to click later because you want to be able to read through those. And then it says respondent can see missed questions and correct answers. I'm going to click off of correct answers. Well, no, we'll leave it there. I think I usually leave it on there. Okay, so this is how it's presented to them. The show progress bar, there's a little bar across the bottom that shows the student where they're at in a test. That way they don't get too overwhelmed. And then I'm going to shuffle the question order because our kids sit right next to each other when they take their tests on their Chromebooks. Okay, I am going to limit the test to one response, which automatically has respondents being required to sign in, which our kids on our Chromebooks have to sign in before they go into Google Classroom, so it's not really a big deal. I don't want them to be able to edit after they submit it, but I do want them to be able to see the summary and charts. So I'm going to click that, save. The first thing that I'm going to do is just give a brief overview on the whole test. So I'm just going to say, please take your time and do your best. Good luck. I'm not going to go into too much detail due to time, but the first question that you want to have be on their test is their name. So first and last name. Oops. And it already goes to short answer because it realizes what you're wanting. Okay, so this won't have an answer key because it's someone's name, and they'll just, on their test, they'll click down here and type their first and last name. I want to make this question required, so I'm going to hit this little bar over here. And then I'm going to add a new section. So it is a little bit more easier on the eye. Once they type in their first and last name, then they'll go to the next section, which is the vocabulary section. So I am just basically typing up our test from our Journeys series. So I typed in the heading, and then I'm going to type in the directions, and I'm just going to kind of not type these word for word. Whoops. Okay, so to add a question, all I do is add this plus sign and it'll just add the question. Okay, and by default, it always goes to multiple choice, so I don't even have to change that. Then I'm typing the question. Because this question is asking me about a sentence below, I have to add another part. So I can actually go down here and add a description, and then I can write the sentence down here. So you kind of have to play around with what works best for the test or quiz you're working on. The good thing about this is if you do it once, you don't have to redo it again. They'll be in your Google Drive, so the following year you can just reassign them without having to type them. If you and your team could split up the tests, that'd also be another good option, because you can share your tests. So now I'm just typing in basically my Journeys, what my Journeys textbook has. I'm not making these up. This is from our Journeys series. So, okay. So I have my question. I made sure it's multiple choice. I have my responses here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the correct response, or the answer. This is basically the answer key. Okay. And I'll make this worth 1 point. I'll go back to edit question. Okay, and then I'm going to make this required. Okay, so you'll do that through all of your questions that you want to ask on the test. We actually have a vocabulary section and a comprehension section. So the next thing I want to show you is how to add a test into your Google Classroom. Okay, so I'm just going to show you one of our tests that we've already made up. Okay, so this is a completed test, and this was the story How Chipmunk Got a Stripe. So I just want to show you it was lesson 2.9. I wrote a description, and then on that I said please type your first and last name into the field below. It's kind of hard for them to see that part. And then scrolling down, that's our vocabulary section. And then when that section breaks apart, it goes into comprehension. Okay, so what I would do if I wanted to assign this to my second graders is I would go back to my Google Classroom. I'd go into my St. Louis second grade. Whoops. I'd go to create assignment. I'm just going to write test. And then down here in my Google Drive, it'll give me all of the forms that I've created. So I'm going to double click on this, which is the test that I made, and then I hit assign. Okay, so then each student will go in, they'll come in and they'll log in and they'll go into Google Classroom. Okay, then they're going to click on the test and then they'll take it. Okay, so as a teacher, this is the most beneficial part. When you go back into your test, okay, this is a test that I created and my kids have already taken their test on. This is their responses. Now, I can't hit this to show you because their names will show up and you'll see their scores. But when you click on responses, you'll be able to see what they got. Google Forms will also allow you to have categories on which question the kids missed the most. Let me click on this. Oh, okay. That didn't show them too much. Okay, so down here, it'll give you a graph on how they did. So these are the points that were scored. So seven kids scored a 17, 4 kids scored a 16, 1 kid scored a 15, 2 scored a 14, and 2 scored a 12. So overall they did okay. And then I can keep going down. Whoops, that's those little kids. That's their actual scores. I don't want to show you that. But I can also view responses in Google Sheets. I can also see their individual responses. So I wanted to show you just using that form. I mean, you can create any kind of test. It can be multiple choice. It can be short answer. It can be anything you want. Create it in Google Forms, upload it to Google Classroom. It will grade it for you automatically, and then you have data right there within minutes that you can look at without having to grade one paper yourself. So I thought that was a great application, and it has saved me a tremendous amount of time. And I'm able to visually see the results of my kids' tests. So I hope that that was informative enough for you. I know it was kind of fast, but I didn't want to take too much time explaining it. Anyway, on one of my other videos, I'm going to be talking about LearnZillion, which also kind of ties into Google Classroom. It allows you to add those lessons from LearnZillion into the Google Classroom assignments. So, again, thank you.